Hey guys, I'm Bally.
I'm Marc.
And this is our special guest, Scott COWX. Scott's gonna drop some knowledge on us, maybe try and coach me.
That should be solid, right?
It's so muscular though.
5 Trackman Imperatives, as I call them, that we want players to understand and they can control. These are the only 5 numbers on Trackman that the player actually can adjust and control. So we want to talk a little bit about those things today.
Okay. Interesting. Okay, cool.
All right. So that was really good. Now, why don't we get Marc and his sling draws up there a little bit?
Sounds good.
See what he gets here. That was solid. A little overdraw, maybe? No, pretty good. Okay, let's talk about that one, Marc. Okay. So Marc is a shot maker, likes to hit all sorts of different shots here, but I've made him hit draws here for us today, just so we understand how the numbers differ a little bit between the draw and the fade. Okay? Because what we're going to see is a couple things. First of all, we can see how the low point value has come a lot closer to the golf ball. So that technically would be a little bit of a danger zone or red flag for me as a coach, because that's very close to chunking the ball. Okay, when that low point value starts to get closer to the golf ball, the minimum value I like to see, even for draw players, might be about 3 ahead. Okay.
Okay.
But we'll leave that one. We'll fix that one in a second. But really, what I want to look at here is that swing direction value. So remember how with Matt that number was -5, -6.
Yeah.
Okay. And I've told you to hit draws, so you instinctively have figured out how to swing more to the right. So we actually have that swing direction value at 3.4 to the right. Now we hit down on the ball, the angle of attack, about -1.6. So the combination of swinging right and then hitting down on it a little bit more has actually shifted the path even more to the right.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we see the club path here at 4.4 to the right. But we got a beautiful little draw here because the face was actually 2 degrees open. So that's kind of, for those of you at home, that's kind of what we're looking for. To hit a great push draw or a nice pull fade, generally you want the face to be half of the path number.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we get a very nice shot that starts a little right or a little left to target, and then it's curving toward the objective, toward the target. Club speed was great, ball speed was great, very solid strike.
Yeah.
But you see how the swing plane value is higher for draws than it is fades. Now, there's a little bit of a height difference. If the viewer hasn't noticed, Marc's a little bit taller than Matt.
Just a couple inches, yeah.
So there is a little bit built into the height difference there. But generally, we see for draws, we're going to see that swing plane value probably a little bit closer to 60.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe even a touch more because of your height. It's you said 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah.
Okay, so that's probably a pretty good swing plane value for a draw here. Now let's hit one more here, and then we're going to maybe work on stretching that low point out a little bit to see if we can hit a little bit more solid.
Okay. I can do that.
Okay. Now, very similar numbers to the last one.
Yeah.
And I think for the viewer at home, this is important to understand is that, you know, ball position is very key here. So where that ball is positioned within your stance is basically your #1 component to controlling that low point value.
Yeah.
So often you'll see draw players play the ball a little bit further back in their stance, and fade players sometimes a little bit more forward in their stance, okay, to try and kind of take advantage of that. Still have a low point value that's similar. So for the viewers here, let's get you to set up maybe a little bit further back in your stance with the ball position. Okay,
Absolutely.
And just to make sure that we don't swing too far right, what we'll get you to do is maybe just actually open your stance
a little bit, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Let's hit well.
All right, so pretty good, right? So we got low point a little bit further out, 2.2. Swing direction, 2.2 to the right. Our club was 3.8. The face was around 2. Just another beautiful little push draw there.
I'll take it.
Should have felt pretty solid.
Yeah, no, that was solid. I hit that good. And that's something to reiterate too. Like when I'm trying to hit fades, I definitely move that ball position more forwards, right? I find so much more success. And I think like for me, if I'm going to struggle with anything, it is going to be getting low point too shallow and picking the golf ball a little bit too much. So when I'm trying to play a draw, I definitely move it back just so I don't have to adjust too much when I'm out playing, right? But if I'm practicing, I'm trying to get that forwards for sure.
And that's an interesting point there, Mark, too, for us to understand from a club fitting perspective, right? You like your Mira's blades there because they don't have a lot of bounce. Because Mark is a shallower player in general than Matt.
Yeah.
Generally, the sole bounce might be a little bit different. You probably prefer something with a little sharper edge, a little bit less bounce, because we already have a low point that's fairly close to the ball. So if we had more bounce, you'd hit a lot of thin shots, a lot of sort of
I see that.
half sculled shots, if you will, if you use a club with a lot of bounce. So it
absolutely.
makes sense on why you prefer those Mira
Absolutely.
blades.
Yeah, and I find that for sure. I mean, like certain other irons, the turf interaction is a little bit different. I really like the way that these kind of cut through and create a little bit of a divot when I'm not trying to, right? So I don't have to try too hard to do it.
That's a good way to put it. All right, let's hit one more draw, then I'll have you...
Okay, move that back just a little bit. I should have hit down on that one a little bit more.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that's kind of what we see there, is we see the low point shifted to 4 ahead. Okay, the swing direction was 1 to the right. By the time we hit down on it 4.8 degrees, though, we got a path that was closer to 4 again. The face was around 2, and again, just another beautiful little push draw. I mean, maybe this is the way we should be playing.
Yeah, I'll take that. I mean, especially for me, like, I think part of the reason I play these irons too is because the dispersion front to back is very tight. And if I was warming up or hitting shots, 185, 184, 182 there, I'm very happy with those results.
Exactly. Right? And we're controlling the distance. I think that's something that all players have to understand is smashing an 8-iron, 180 yards sounds like a good idea, but in fact, often leads to, like you said, problems with front to back yardage control. We might have one 8-iron go 165 yards, one go 189 yards. All of a sudden, we can't obviously hit the ball anywhere close to the hole.
Yeah, it's not worth it, right? I think for me too, I struggle. Like, I'm happy with the numbers there, right? And these are fairly weaker blades, right? So anything that's too strong in loft, I don't spin enough, and then that's the issue. Is front to back is 20, 25 yards. And that's not how you score well, right? I mean...
Well, exactly. And what we see with the world-class players that I work with, I mean, we see basically when they're swinging their best, plus or minus 2 yards on the carry number.
Yeah.
And to achieve that, we need the centerness to be very centered repeatedly. We need to obviously present the same loft values and the same club head speed to produce that window that's going to make it go
absolutely
a similar distance. So
for sure.
You've obviously found a set of irons that does that for you. But
yeah, they work for me.
Just for the interest sake here, let's have you hit a cut here. So this time what we'll do is we're just going to move the ball position forward a little bit.
Yep.
Okay, and just by shifting that ball position a little bit more forward and maybe standing a touch closer to the golf ball, that's going to help us curve the hands a little bit more left and hit a fade here.
Okay. Ooh. Should cut. Oh, it's trying.
Okay.
Bit of a pull.
Yeah. Now again, a little bit that same feel I gave Matt there. You see how the swing playing, that's going to be hard to hit fades at 60.
Yeah, jumping some up. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you need to get that left hip away from the handle. Really feel yourself kind of Lee Trevinoing this a little bit if you want to have that image in your mind.
Yep. I can do that.
Okay, better. Now that's part of the reason why I have to move you further from the golf ball.
Okay.
Okay. Or sorry, closer to the golf ball, because you're pulling that left hip away from the golf ball. So I need to have some space. Otherwise, if I stand too far and I pull the left hip away, I'm just going to hit off the toe.
That's true. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. But let's hit one more. We'll show
a little closer
here. Same feel. Yeah, really well done there. Okay, excellent. Now, so if we look at that, we see that the low point might still be a little close for my pace there at 2, but again, this is what makes you a good ball striker, because you just shifted your swing direction by about 4 to 5 degrees more to the left, right? So now it's -3.
Yeah.
Our attack angle was 2.6. The face was -1, so it was about half of the path, which ended up being about, where was the path?
2 left. Yeah.
2. So actually, that was a straight shot, basically just a very slight
Yeah, it had
pull.
a tiny. Yeah.
Okay,
exactly.
maybe a touch of a cut there.
Yeah,
But
so-
you're definitely able to manipulate that. Now we also see how the swing plane value, because you pivoted harder through the bottom.
Yeah, I could feel that.
Swing plane value came down.
Absolutely.
All right, let's try one more.
Okay, so
give me the grossest
cut?
Yakunin you can here.
Okay, so I'll get the low here. All right.
Guys, so stand nice and close, a little closer. There you go, and then really get that hip away from you.
Well, I shoved it a little bit.
Yeah, let's try that again. It's more of a knockdown cut. I know you're trying to get the low point out.
Yeah.
But we'll leave the low point a little bit.
Okay.
I'm more after, I think, on this, getting that swing plane back.
Okay, I can get that down a little bit.
Good.
To be a little lower. There you go.
Okay.
Swing direction moved a little more left there.
Correct. Now, let's hit one more. Start with the face. So, not to blow up any minds here, but technically to hit a great fade, that face has to be closed. To the
Yeah. I
targeted
could feel
input.
that stay open
Okay.
on me.
So let's start with the face a little bit closed, just a little bit left,
Okay.
and make that same swing.
Can't get it down.
Yeah, pretty close though. You're getting
Close.
it. Let's hit one more.
Feels like a lot of work to get it to go left today.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, we're just hitting draws, right? So
Yeah, and that's why I don't practice hitting draws, because then I hook it. So
right. So let's see the setup.
Okay.
Okay. So let's pull left foot back a hair.
Left foot.
Yeah, just a hair. Yeah, move a little closer. Okay. There you go. Now from there, go ahead and kind of feel like the hips goes further left the closer you get to the ball. Does that make sense? So I don't want you to spin the hips right away.
Okay, so
I want you
wait.
to feel like it gets down in front of you, then you pull it away.
Okay.
Right. So that should have felt a little more of a slide cut, if you will.
It did.
A little squeezer there, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
But very well done. So if we look at those numbers, what we see is that swing plane value primarily came down from, around 61 or so with the
62,
draw.
Yeah.
We got it down into the 58 range. Swing direction was 3 left. Low point was 3 ahead. A very nice little cut there.
Yeah, I'd take
Face
that.
was fractionally open, so just a tiny little push cut.
Yeah.
But nicely done. So
Yeah.
let's hit one last one, then we'll get Matt up here with the driver.
Okay, let's see it. Oh, it's trying.
It's trying. It's trying. But
Trying
to
hard.
get it to cut, right? See how the swing plane's at 60. So it's just
Yeah.
a matter of that relationship. So
Getting that a little bit lower.
basically what that means, when that swing plane gets higher, there's more, let's say, release of the arms,
Yeah.
as opposed to when that swing plane gets lower, there's more release
With the hips and the
holding
body.
the shaft low and
Yeah.
your hips are rotating.
Okay. Yeah.
So obviously one's going to give you a little bit nicer looking exit than the other.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in terms of hitting that cut, we will see the numbers change a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And like Matt, I don't want you to feel like you pull your arms across your body. I want you to do it with your hips.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Because I think for me, because I hit a lot of golf balls, I can make a lot of things happen with these,
Yes.
with my hands. And I think that's something that, like, if I'm outside, I'm obviously happy with that result, right? But I can feel what you're saying, right?
Right.
It does feel like I'm doing it a bit like this, right? And
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
kind
bit
of
arms
just,
you manipulate.
yeah, and just
Okay,
trying
that's
to
what we
like
call kind of
tweak
a
that.
steep cut.
Yes,
right?
exactly. And I can
So
feel that for sure.
We want a shallow cut.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's where that definition comes in. So the best faders that I've seen can often get that swing plane down to 55, 56.
Okay, interesting.
Because they're basically, like Jordan Spieth says, they're turning and burning, right?
Yes,
They're just ripping
okay.
that pivot so hard,
Yeah.
but they're keeping that club low.
Okay. So for me, so if I keep my handle lower at setup,
Correct.
it feels like I can do that more often, right? Like
Absolutely.
I think for me, when I draw it, I think my hands kind of they feel like they raise a little bit. So let me try one more with some low hands
And
here.
that's exactly the fundamental we have with fades versus draws. Fade
Okay.
setup should be low hands, draw setup should be high hands.
Okay, good to know. I felt decent. Swing plane still. I chunked that a little bit.
Yep, let's do it again.
Let me do one more.
Anytime, by the way, too, guys, on the mat here,
Yeah.
you chunk it, it bounces, so you'll always get a high reading on
It's true. Yeah. Makes sense. All right, one more here.
All right, so
So a little lower
ball
hands and kind of
forward,
drag
handle
that.
low.
Okay.
A little closer, still way too far from it. There you go.
Okay, there we
now
go.
Really pull that left hip away. Good.
Feels like I'm just leaving that face open.
That was good.
Yeah,
You
so
see how that
it's-
swing plane came down, 57.7, low
Feel
point
that.
moved forward.
Yeah.
Swing direction obviously went a lot more left. So what we're fighting a little bit here is just the face.
Yeah, yeah, no, I could feel that face. I mean,
Right.
my tendency is to shut it. So for me, everything I do is trying to kind of
Right.
hold that off, right, with that little draw pattern. So
Like I was showing Matt, I said the fact is if I get that hip pulling away, what that does, that creates a stretch up your left lat, across your left shoulder, across the tricep, across the forearm.
okay,
You're going to feel that wrist get pulled into flexion a little bit.
okay, yeah,
So it's like if I reach over and grab somebody's hand and I try and pull that away from them like this,
There's a
that
little bit of
motion
a-
is actually creating some stability
okay,
in the wrist joint.
okay, makes sense.
Okay, as opposed to trying to
Yeah, yeah, dump it
let's
under.
say,
Yeah,
dump it
exactly.
under and,
Yeah,
and manipulate it.
for
Okay,
sure.
so let's do one more.
Okay. Try and keep that face a little more. So I get a little closer, hands a little lower. Just gonna do it at 80% speed here.
Got a better start line.
Yeah, that felt better.
There you are.
That felt better.
Okay. So low point. So for you, right? Because we know that the low point maybe gets a little bit picky, and again,
Does.
you've got clubs that satisfy that. You'll probably see about 1 to 2 inch differences between your draw low point value and your fade, low
Fade.
point value.
Yeah, no, I would agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see there, the swing direction was 4.6 left. We see the swing plane came down again under 60. Just a nice, beautiful little fade shot.
Yeah, no, I would take that. I would take that for sure. And that's something I do too. To like, it's like, I took a couple miles an hour off that to try and feel it. I think at full speed for me, I would never really drill anything like that. So
Sure.
it's nice to take a little bit off and kind of feel exactly what you're saying. And I think a couple of them I overdid, right? I think with face and didn't quite trust that face is gonna stay
Right.
where it was and tried to really hold it open.
And that's why, if we can, we want to try and create that fade and draw from the setup primarily.
Yes,
And then there are some very subtle differences around the golf ball
with
between
feels.
that draw and the fade.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? And,
Okay.
and that's a very useful one to hit a tiny little cut and never see that ball go left.
For sure.
Is definitely feel like we're increasing that spacing between the left tip of your hands and the
Okay.
impact. Okay.
Okay.
So
I see what
instead
you're
of
saying.
decreasing it, which is what most people are doing because they're throwing their arms down,
Yeah,
right? They're decreasing that spacing. You want to feel like they're actually increasing it a little.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Interesting.
that's
Very cool.
going to stop that from actually being able to close the face
Yeah.
tremendously.
Yeah, you could feel it because when I did it the best with my body, it felt like
Just
also
slid
me doing
across
it with
the front.
hands exactly,
Right.
and it just kind of skimmed, and then the face was wipey, right?
Right.
So I think that's me.
As opposed to a steep cut, which is, let's say, the arms kind of
Yeah,
you
just
would in a
pull it
bumper
down
shot
and
or something like
exactly.
that.
Yeah,
right? It's
exactly.
not a steep cut; it's a shallow cut.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Okay, cool.
All right, let's get.
Love it.
Yeah, we'll do driver here with you in a minute, Mark. But let's see what
See what Bally's got with driver.
Valley does with the big dog.
Absolutely.
So I can take it away.